Hello and welcome back to my tutorial series for Java. Now today, as you might see by the episode title, we're not continuing with the beginner series right now, but we're going to actually start up Eclipse from scratch and open up ourselves a new workspace to start on a brand new project we'll be starting that will teach you so much content, or at least I hope it does. We're going to be programming our very own physics simulator, which will help simulate physics, obviously, in several scenarios. So I did change my folder structure a bit for some things, so I'll do slash physics sim, and that should hopefully be the correct folder. And I'll open up a brand new workspace. It doesn't have anything in it yet. It'll just be, completely brand new, and we'll start up our own project. And instead of starting a new project every single episode, we're going to stick with one project for the whole series, since, that obviously makes more sense if we're just going to be building off the same thing every time. So we're just going to make a new Java project, since, it's not really any other type of project. Now, in the first episode right now, basically what it's going to be is about setup. So some stuff similar, to what we did in episode 14 of the Java tutorial series, and setup, and also how to customize your Eclipse workspace. Again, start out with maybe we should do a different package, because MMCs actually means is a certain group of people that I have that program things. But so maybe a new package. We'll just do Boralaborn, just to identify me as the author. Because normally when you do package structures, if you have a website, like you would do your website backwards. So if you worked for Google, your package structures would be it would be com.google dot whatever thing you wanted. So it'd be com.google dot whatever you're doing with it. But I don't have a website, unfortunately. So we're just gonna. So if you don't have a website and you don't have any other nomer that you use for making package structures, oh, that was bad. Then you would just do your name, and I'm just gonna go over the pseudonym of Boralaborn, and you do dot whatever thing you're working on right now, and we're doing stuff about physics and physics simulators. Now we're just gonna create our main class, and before we start programming at all, I'm going to show you how to customize your Eclipse workspace. So the first thing we do is on Mac, it will be up in here on Preferences. If you're on Windows, I believe it'll be in your Window tab, and it'll have some stuff. But for Macs, it's going to be in Preferences. And, Windows and Mac users will get the same thing here. And what we're going to do, we're going to go to Java. Actually, let me try to Java compiler. No, sorry. We'll go there. Java code style formatter. So right now it does Eclipse built in. Now everyone, of course, has their own programming style, as well do I. And I don't have a normal one that's normal, so I'm just going to call this one custom. So what we do, we get to edit it, and you see there's a crap ton of things you can do to edit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do tabs only just because I like tabs. It's more universal if you use spaces only, because spaces are the same in all systems, but sometimes tabs can be different. But yeah. So I also want to indent things. You can go through all of this as you want and see if you what you want to do or don't want to do. But I'm doing what I do. I like a lot of these things, if you haven't noticed, being on the next line, but not all of them. Wait, yeah. Blocks, switch statements, and array initializers I don't want on the next line, because then it looks weird. White space. Nah, I don't want you to insert any white space. Blank lines. I want between import groups. I don't like lines in between import groups. It's weird for me. Of course, you can set these to whatever you want. If you always look over here when you change something here, it'll show you what it'll actually look like here. So then you can go through here, new lines. No. Let me see. No. Insert new line after annotations. Yeah, annotations. Okay, control statements, insert new line. Because I always like the new lines. Catch and try, finally and try, while. And actually, no, since that's in a do while, I want it to stay on the same line. Yeah. Okay. Line wrap, I don't really care about that. Comments. Yeah. Off and on tags. Okay. So that's good enough for our custom one. Well, my custom one. Of course, yours is different. Now, the next thing you want to do is clean up. So whenever it cleans up, it'll do something different. So then we're just going to do make another custom for cleaning up. So whenever it cleans the code, I'll show you how to clean the code soon, but you want it to format it so it's the same as before. I want it to remove all trailing white spaces. Correct indentation. Not sure what that is. I'll just put yes. Organize imports, no, because then I'd have to show you something, because then there's something else you do for, can be changed on the organize imports preference pane. Members. Oh, no, I don't want to show members. Code style, use blocks. I always want to use blocks in there because it just makes it more obvious. Use parentheses and expressions only if necessary. No. Use this qualifier only if necessary. Use this qualifier only if necessary. And missing code. Add missing override annotations, just because I like add override annotations just in case. I explained add override a bit before in previous episode. Yes. Well, I don't know why something would be. Oh, I see. Okay. Why not? Sure. Okay, now here's where it's important. Basically, where it can remove, whenever it cleans, it'll remove unnecessary code. Right now, it'll remove unused imports, which I'm okay with. Remove unused private members. So basically, if you look in the example, the private class sub is never used, so it would automatically remove these things and other things if they're never used. And remove unused. I actually want to keep unused variables because I'm a hoarder of variables. So now we can just apply that and press OK. Now you can see it added a crap ton of stuff that it is going to do in what order, but the order doesn't really matter. So now we can just apply. I don't know if this makes a difference, but apply and just press OK. Now how you would clean it, you can go to Project and do Clean, and it'll clean your code. It builds automatically, and what it means by build, it compiles it. Because right now we're working on source code, which means all the files end with .java. But after you build and compile it, it'll make it like actually runnable in separate programs. which I'll show you how to make your own program when we're done with the physics simulator. But then it'll turn into dot class, and then you could subsequently compile that into a dot jar, which is just very convenient. A lot easier. Again, I'll explain that a lot more in depth and show you when we're done with the first part of our physics simulator, because it's probably going to be a fairly long project, but don't worry. You'll learn a lot. Now, since we do have some time left, I can just show you the basic setup of what we're going to be doing for our thing. Now, there is going to be some differences from today's setup and the episode 14 setup. So this is going to be runnable. Okay. Now we do need to import several things, such as Java, JavaX. I don't know if we're going to need aught in our main class, but we will obviously definitely need swing. And for the other two classes, what? Oh no. And just import JFrame. Since renderer, what we're actually going to do is make a new class. We're going to call it renderer. And it's going to render things. So what we're going to do here is just something real quick. We're just going to do public renderer. Also going to do a we're going to say it passes JFrame. I mean, basically what I'm doing right now is a whole bunch of simple stuff that y'all should get. Of course, we need to import. Ooh, sorry about that. That was a bit loud. So that works. Then we need another class, which will be a force, if I can spell it right. A force list, then just one more. And then these are just empty. We're not going to program these this episode, but trust me, we'll get way into them. So this is a physics simulator, and we're going to be dealing with a lot of forces. And our first simulator will just be calculating net force for two-dimensional forces, which is relatively easy. But yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully, maybe you'll learn a bit of physics. At the same time, you're learning a lot about programming. And we're just going to do graphics g equals frame dot. And now I do need to import Java aught. Let's see if I can just get away with importing graphics. Because normally I do a lot of the asterisks to import everything in it, but I guess this time we can try to avoid it. And of course we'll dispose. And what we'll do back in main, we'll do don't have a constructor for that yet. I think we should declare those after we set up more about the frame. But right here, rend. We'll do while true. You might in episode 14 we did while is running, but that's mainly for a game, so you can stop it when you want. But for our simulator, it's gonna run all the time until you exit out of it. So what we're gonna do rend.render, and then of course we need to try to sleep. because if we don't sleep, then it'll be taking up a lot of your processor, and we really don't want that. We'll just sleep 50 milliseconds. That means it'll render the screen about 20 times a second, if I'm correct. And if and when it catches the interrupted exception, we'll just make it do nothing, since, you know, hopefully it never gets interrupted. We might add to that later, just in case. So we're just gonna say main equals new main. I'm just gonna say new thread main dot start. So you create main and then you start main, and this is obviously, since this is the constructor for main, this is what happens when you create a new main. So we're just gonna do a frame dot set size. Now that I remember, though, we should go to the top, do a couple public static final, and start with a string, and it'll be version. This is just going to equal 0.0.1. Then the title will equal Physics Simulator plus version. And just one more public static final dimension equals new dimension. Let's start with 800 by 600. That's pretty standard. And oh yeah, now we have to import java.auth.dimension. Oh, that shouldn't be capitalized. There we go. So we set its size to screen size. Frame dot set title to title. Frame dot set default close operation to JFrame. Dot exit on close, so the program will stop running when you exit it, when you close the window. Over here we'll do frame.setVisible, since the last thing it should be doing is making itself visible. Because when you're working with swing components, their visibility determines their editability. So when the frame is visible, you can't do anything to it. When the frame is visible, you can't edit its edit it directly. You can edit its subcomponents, I believe, but you can't edit the frame while it's visible. So in order to edit the components or what's on the frame or window, you'll have to make it not visible, then you'll have to revalidate it, and then you'll have to repaint it, and then you'll have to set visible to true again, which is a bit painstaking, and we'll explain that a lot more in depth if and when we get to it. Definitely not this episode, but that's, if and when we get to it, is the biggest part there. So then, other than that, I don't think we really need anything else right now. So if we run it right now, we should get an 800 by 600 window, Physics Simulator 0.0.1, and though you can't really tell right now, this is running, so it's a rendering 20 times a second. But we didn't put anything in rendering except for getting the graphics and subsequently disposing of it. Oh, did not want to do that. So just to prove that it's working, we'll just do g.draw oval at starting at 100, 100, and it'll have a width of 600 and a height of 400. So that way it'll be pretty symmetrical. Oh, but we should also do g.setColor. And let's do green. Green is my favorite color. And of course, it's automatically importing those. Lucky for us. So then we'll run it, and there should be a big oval. It's not filled, but it's a big oval, and it refreshes every second. So there. We have our window, we have our setup. I taught you how to clean up and format the code. I mean, if we clean up right now, it shouldn't really do much since we've been pretty much sticking to how my formatting works. So, you know, it finished cleaning and nothing really changed. So, yeah, that's good. So there you have it, that's set up and everything. I will see you next episode when we actually establish the beginning of our force list. You might not know how I, want this to come about, but, you'll eventually start figuring out as we go along. But my basic first idea is, you'll have a list of forces, and you can add forces and remove forces. And once you select a certain force, you can edit that force, and it'll always be the net force, which it'll always show you. But, yep, there you go. I will see you next episode on establishing the force list, which is going to be a crap ton of content. So, see you next time, and good programming to you.